Hello, everybody. So we are live, and today I have a guest on my show, Evgeny Kim. So Evgeny and I we know each other like for quite some time. Evgeny, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and well, I know you kind of like do a lot of like really cool stuff. So tell us all about it.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me. So by trade, I'm a software test engineer, and I still work. But at the same time, I was in different domains as well. You probably you probably saw my LinkedIn post about the meetups. So this
Mhm.
is something that I'm doing quite a while since 2018. I'm running the software engineering meetups for developers and test engineers. Uh, at this moment, we're running them. Actually, we started running them in person as well in Los Angeles, but we also do the online meetups. Online meetups, and I am inviting mostly hiring managers, like engineering managers, different levels. Any uh, I would say anyone who is participating in the hiring processes and making decisions about the hiring. So also technical recruiters, uh, managers in recruiting, also participating in our meetups. So we kind of helping people with tips and hints about interviewing processes for both for software engineers and for testers, and also with our resumes. In the past, in 2018, I founded QA Bootcamp, but I'm not there anymore. In 2020, I exited it. My former partners, they are still running it.
Mhm.
In 2021, actually, I started a recruiting agency at the same time. So I do still have a few clients, but if you know, this year is kind of crazy for recruiting,
Mhm.
and not only for recruiters, but also like in general, right? The market was the opposite than it was in 2021.
Yes.
So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
All right. Yeah, it's really exciting. And what I like, I was kind of following your journey, and I really like that you're a very multi passionate person. So like, you dabble in in a little bit. You are organizing the community with meetups and stuff like that, and you are helping people. So what inspired you to like even do meetups in the first place?
Uh, Pretty simple. It was the same problem that I was solving for myself. When I started journey in software testing back in 2015, there were not much meetups that I was looking for, and active meetups, right? And basically a help for people who for myself, for those who like myself didn't have that much experience, didn't have my, or like was even when I landed the first job, then I was craving to get like what other testers are doing, what other engineers are doing, how it looks like in their companies. I
Hmm.
was very curious, but we did a local, very small group meetup, just friends
Hmm.
who with whom just friends, and that's actually how it started. And like back then when I was a little bit younger, I was liking going for parties, and I decided why not doing both things together, party and knowledge sharing, experience sharing. It's quite interesting. Yeah, kind of, this thing.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is really cool because I remember. were you in Seattle at some point with the yeah you were.
Yeah, we did couple meetups in Seattle.
Were you in Seattle when you did meetup QA meetup at Providence, like where I used to work?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, and it really brings so many wonderful talented people, like hiring managers, like you said, and you establishing so many connections. And um yeah, when it comes to meetups, right? um, what I see normally is that a lot of more junior to mid-level engineers, they like kind of more interested go in there. They're more active there. But the more senior people get in their career, we don't see them. We don't see a lot of those people at our meetups, right?
Yeah.
So do you think it makes sense for executives and more senior people to join meetups? Not necessarily when they're presenting something, but just an attendee. Do you think there is a benefit for them as well, or it's just more like kind of like oriented junior to mid level, like maybe early senior developers?
Actually, a great question. Definitely depends on segmentation and targeting of the meetup group. Like, who is their audience, right?
Mm-hmm,
For when I was doing the meetup, and I'm still doing, right?
mm-hmm,
I'm targeting primarily like I'm trying to target for those who already have experience and for those who is transitioning or less more junior.
mm-hmm,
uh, what do they have all in common is that we all do the interviews, and actually, yeah, this is something that we are doing, right? We despite your level of your experience,
mm-hmm,
all of us will go through the interviews. This is something that uh, in common for both groups. In
mm-hmm,
terms of executives and hiring managers, it depends like what is their interest. If they are hiring, yes, definitely we have a lot of people who are coming, who are hiring engineers or hiring managers, and they pitching like, oh yeah, we are hiring, drop me your resume to my email, or you can connect me with the LinkedIn, and they have the first initial actually the chat in the
mm-hmm,
meetup. And we constantly have this outcome when hiring managers they message me like, and they tell me, hey Evgeny, actually, you know what, I hired the engineer from your meetup.
mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. Actually, this is how I started the recruiting company,
Oh,
because
nice.
yeah, because we had few actually requests, but it doesn't it doesn't matter at this moment. The most important part is that it depends like if for example, if CTO is not the person who is managing hiring, probably for him is not that interesting to join to this type of meetups. But but we have a lot of like VPs, directors of engineering managers. Yeah, so it depends like what are their goals. If they
Mhm,
if the goal is to pitch their openings, their company, yeah, like we have uh, a lot of folks who are coming to our meetups and just hanging out. It's pretty interesting.
mhm,
But I think if you wanna group them together, I think the target should be different. If you wanna target doing the meetup for executives,
mhm.
the topic definitely should be around their interest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like where I see it too, but I think um, even for executives, right? Like you don't have and people at different seasons in their careers, at different stages in their careers, they will use different tactics, right? And even if you ended up like at the meetup as an executive and you would like to explore other opportunities, you can connect with other executives if they're there like at a time, like, or like you can even make a formal introduction and somebody knows someone, right? So like to connect that together. So I think like I would consider it as an opportunity as well. But you're absolutely right. You kind of want to, like, when you go for a meetup, right, you you want to check the focus group, right? If it is a meetup for um let's say more oriented for software developers, so you're probably going to have a lot of hiring managers, a lot of technical recruiters who are looking for other engineers. But if you are more focused on like m- networking with business partners and looking for next business opportunities, I think you're right. I think your focus can like shift to like a different perspective as well, and you might want to look for different groups of people and meetups as well. So like you kind of on target there as well.
Yeah, for example, when I was starting the boot camp, I was participating in startup and business meetups.
Hmm.
That was very quite a while, quite interesting experience as well. And honestly, like I don't want to brag, but a lot of those meetups were like really suck, even compared to our engineering meetups. Our engineering meetups were much more fun.
Hmm.
But again, like it depends. uh oh yeah, interesting statistics from our last meetup, which we were hosting in company channel
Hmm.
a month ago. And we had 5 or 6 hiring managers, and quite quite many of them, they were who were laid off. And several of them, they were actually coming to meetup to find a new opportunity, or to just to for networking.
Hmm.
Basically, that's what it is. It doesn't really mean that they will find the job, or it doesn't mean that the person who came to the meetup, he will get a job, but
Hmm.
it's an opportunity of networking. I think it's a long-term relationship.
Yeah, yeah. Like I agree with you because one of my roles that I have gotten in the past as an iOS developer at Nordstrom actually came from a meetup, and I think two meetups. We were like the same person. We were in two meetups together, like Xcoders and iOS Dev Happy Hour. And it just, yeah, that like the power of networking, just like by simply asking like, hey, like I see that you posted about the job, can you refer me? And having an advocate, well, like here's another thing: when you have a genuine connection, right, when you don't just like approach people and say, hey, I just need a job, but when you establish connections, when you talk to person, right, like as you normally would, right, even if you didn't need a job, but then when you have that initial connection and you say, hey, I'm looking for a job. I saw you post, like, would you mind like introducing me to a technical recruiter? And throughout my process, there were a few wrinkles in the process that I thought honestly that I was ignored and ghosted by a recruiter, but because I had person inside, the process was uninterrupted, and like the recruiter finally was able to get back to me. And well, like there were difficulties right on their side, which has nothing to do with like my application, but because I had that person inside, my resume was not lost. So because the engineering manager knew about me, and like he wanted to interview me as well. So because of that, because of constant follow up, and somebody said that fortune is in the follow up. So like if I didn't have that follow up, I probably would never landed that job. So I think it's really important to have an advocate like inside of the organization, and you can reach out to that person and say, hey, I don't hear anything, like can you reach out to a recruiter and see what's up. And a lot of like more often than not, like a recruiter will inform me rather they, oh, like we hire someone else, or like it's not quite the right fit at the moment.
You actually touched three very important things in this chain, in this
Hmm.
event chain. The first is that when you how to networking with other people and ask them if if they don't mind to refer them to their company, right? So I a big fan of I would say, do you know Gary Vee?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
I do.
yeah. I like his philosophy, right? Before
Jab, jab,
asking,
jab, jab, right
yeah,
hook.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Before asking something,
Give, 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 give,
give.
and
Yes,
occasional
exactly.
buy. Yes.
And this is I think this is how networks should work.
Hmm.
When someone is coming to me and he say, "Hey, Evgeny, can you refer me to this job?" without having any connections to me and without any uh, established rapport, right?
Hmm.
It's very hard to say because first of all, you want to recommend the person who you trust, and you
Yes.
have to build this trust right first.
Hmm.
How you can build the trust in the meetup, it's very hard to do without actually, you know, without committing to continue any type of relationship. So I think the best way to get connection and you know, just like in a dating, in a speed dating,
Yes.
well,
Hmm.
just to like to each other, show that you are a genuine person. You're not just want to use this person, the other person, to in your interest, right?
Hmm.
You also want to be useful for him too. Actually, you should. I think this is my strategy. I think you should be
Hmm.
useful first before asking something in return,
Hmm.
and that's simple as that. And at the same time, you was touching the resume, because
Hmm.
when you applied and your resume was lost, this is like 100% true. And I was, for example, we had very recently a meetup with
Hmm.
he is senior manager at my previous company where I used to work.
Hmm.
And how I found this job, I actually messaged him in LinkedIn, but I didn't. I messaged him that I was applying to that specific job, and if you had a chance, just you know, look at my resume. That's it.
Hmm.
I didn't ask him like, oh, can we get on the call or something? No, nothing like that. But
Hmm.
I just remind him like, hey, I applied to this job like yesterday, so recently,
Hmm.
and very short sentence. And he come back to me. He
Hmm.
came back to me and he said, "Oh yeah, actually, you know what? I think let's shot." And
Hmm.
that's how my bird resume went on the top. You know,
Yeah.
just because you remind him. Yeah.
Yeah, and for those who are joining, we are networking, and we're talking about meetups, and we just touched the point how to actually ask somebody for help. So, and if you are looking for a network, if you are looking for connections, so like go ahead and come in the chat. So like other people can see you, other people can connect with you. So like you never know who is watching, you never know who is reading through the comments. So and definitely react on this live stream as well. But I think also when it comes to what my philosophy how to apply for jobs, right?
Mhm.
There are a lot of career coaches that would say do not apply for jobs online, right? And that might be true, um, like let's say in 2021, and like even in 2020, right? Because the opportunities were like plentiful. So but right now the market is, I wouldn't say that tech market is absolutely horrible, it's a little different, so we have to do a little bit more work as we used to, right? So but when you are applying for a job and you see the recruiter name, let's say on LinkedIn, a recruiter's name on that job, so there is a really good reason for that recruiter to put their name on that job, so they want to be contacted. And I think the best way to go about it, right, is to apply for a job and then let your recruiter know, hey, I applied for that job. um, like really like you said, really short sentence, like you don't have to go like it doesn't have to be a paragraph, it doesn't have to be anything like that. Like but you can connect with that recruiter, hey, so and so, um I saw you I saw a position that you posted like for whatever X company, I would like to connect with you, so let's chat. Or maybe you can even add like open-ended question, is there anything else I need to do right now? So do you need anything else from me right now? So because sometimes there may be a glitch in ATS and your resume, let's say, not parsed for, you know, for odd reason, or like maybe there was a disconnect. And i I've seen people who are doing that have gotten better responses from the companies, either from their like automatic system. That recruiter may never actually answer your message on LinkedIn, but you got like email invitation for like initial screening or like something like that. I've seen people moving through the process a little bit faster than if they didn't do that.
Yeah, the purpose of this message is basically to grab an attention. Nothing more. Don't. I would suggest not to expect anything in return. Like when you're sending these messages, don't
Hmm.
expect that person will reply. He may not reply, but he may send your resume on the top, and the other person can reply you,
Hmm.
right? So this is, don't bug, I would say, don't bug this person like, oh, I posted I applied yesterday, and then
Yeah.
next time, I actually I sent you a message yesterday, can you take
Yeah.
a look? Don't
Like,
do this, like, yeah,
like have
just,
you have a chance? Yeah, like don't
yeah,
like
yeah,
somebody else. And
please.
yeah, like it's the fastest way to lose a recruiter out of your network.
Yeah.
Somebody said, "What is the key in networking?" And I said, like we talked about before, providing value, right? You establish genuine connection, like you normally would in real life, either online or at the meetup, and provide value to that person. So you um, give something to them, right? It doesn't have to be anything huge, right? Because people like hearing about themselves. People like when you pay attention to their needs. And let's say like somebody, like an example, like somebody is let's say like graphical designer, and like you came across an article about graphic design or something like really cool, and it caught your attention because you just spoke to that person. Send that article and say like, hey, I have no idea about design, but here's an article, and I like let me know what you think. And people actually appreciate that. So Jamal said, dropping by the show, some love to support bro Eugene. Thank you, Jamal, I appreciate your support. So like yeah, I think this is this is the key. And another way I think people think that they network, right? But like they're but not really, is when, and I'm guilty of it myself, and I've seen those posts today like a ton. Ironically, is when you send a connect request without a note, person accepts your connection, and you never speak to that person again, and you think that you're not working. Like, oh, like they see me, like they see I'm open to work, so like obviously if they had a job for me, they would reach out, right? but you actually have to establish connection. And there are people who actually won't accept your connections, especially if you see people with large network, or people who are very strategic about how they growing their network. They may not accept your network or like connection request, because like at this point, I would like to know why people are connecting with you, right? Because like your network is your net worth. So, and if I allow people who, like an example, right? I've been, I don't know, I've been just hit by a lot of like spam messages here on LinkedIn, right? By like fake accounts.
Yeah.
And at this point, like, I don't know, like, I don't know who you are. You're just sending me like a connection request. So, in those profiles, sometimes they were good, so sometimes they were not so good. So, but send a connection, establish that relationship in like just a couple of sentences. You don't have to go that deep. Like, you don't have to ask anything deep. Just say, hey, like, I see we're in a similar industry. Hey, like, I am in the boot camp. I'm also learning React development right now. Or like, hey, I would like to like network with you, and I'm on my job search, so I think it would be useful if I have a recruiter in my network. I'm looking forward to seeing more content from you. So like something simple like that. And that recruiter, like they, like they have a quota, they have requirements, and if they have something suitable for you, because they probably look at your profile at that moment, they may actually reach back out to you and say, hey, I actually have a junior position. I was just thinking about like where would I find junior developers? Like, do you want to look at it? Like,
Yeah, I would say a very simple rule applies to any type of networking. Nobody wants to be transactional, or like if you see sales, how they used the best example would be a car salesman, right?
mm-hmm,
Don't be like a car salesman, transactional. Even I'm not saying that all car salesmen are bad, but this is very transactional. They're trying to close the deal in the
mm-hmm,
same day, right? Like this is their goal,
mm-hmm,
uh, or maybe the most is like 1 month.
mm-hmm,
Anyway, so what I'm saying, like, play long-term relationship. I think this is the key. Don't expect in return. The person may not have the position or the good fit for you, or you may be not good for this position today, but he may have a position that you may be a good fit tomorrow, after tomorrow, or whatever. But the key is here is a long-term relationship, right? Don't I think this is the most important fact. And you don't need to try too hard, even what I'm saying, like, about give, right? Like,
mm-hmm,
in return, you don't need to really give, but at the same time, giving attention is already
mm-hmm.
a giving, right? Like,
Yes, exactly. Like it, like liking a post, supporting a post,
yes,
like,
exactly.
and like you think you're not doing anything, but like LinkedIn is a little bit different platform from Instagram and from Facebook, even
Yeah.
from Twitter, because people actually come here for professional interest, right? And it's one thing if somebody like my cat video on Facebook,
Mm.
right? Or like my collab video with another creator, like just a silly video and me reacting on that. It doesn't bring me a job. It doesn't bring me any like long-term value in my life, rather than just like, entertain myself. But when I let's say when I share about my experience, when I share about like let's say like a coding lesson, or let's say something related to career coaching, or anything like that, and people and somebody liked it, I will notice it because I put
Yeah.
thoughts into it and somebody reacted. And reaction on LinkedIn work absolutely differently than reactions on any other social media, because people put thoughts and soul into it.
I'll give you a secret. I always looking into who was reacting on my post, or
Mhm.
like on my, maybe on my reaction as well, right?
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
always looking into, like, okay, oh, I know this person, like, oh, I see this person like several times. He was liking, interesting, like,
Yeah.
but this is the tension that you want,
Yes, and this is really good. Like, and again, it's kind of like diving into strategy of networking. If you follow up with people who like your post, that it resonated with them, and you bring it back and say, "Hey, I said so and so, and I appreciate you interacting with my comment." Um, like, you have no idea what kind of conversation you can open up. Somebody can open up and say, "Hey, like, yes, it was really good thought, and I thought, like, I have a role or whatever, like, and I was thinking exactly of you." So, like,
Eugene, let's be transparent. Our conversation, this one came from reaction on LinkedIn, right?
yes, it did. It absolutely did. And absolutely, like, I don't remember which reaction,
Yeah.
but like it, yeah, it's absolutely, yeah. Like, I think you reacted on something, and like, I remember that like, we've known each other for
Yeah.
like for quite a while, and like, now here we are. So, tell people how to join your meetup if they're interested. Like, maybe you have like links, you can put them in the chat. So, and I think, well, LinkedIn will save the chat as well, and I can reshare it later. So, like, how people join your meetup? Where do they register, and how often they are?
Yeah, sure. I'm not sure where can I post the link.
I think in the, like, do you have that, like, a
I,
chat
I see the
window?
I see the private chat. I'll send it to you, and you can reshare if you want.
Okay, yeah, like that. Yeah,
Yeah, this is the space that I created. So please join. We do host mock interviews, free mock interviews for software engineers, for software testers, and also do free open sessions with the resume reviews. So we inviting technical recruiters, hiring managers. They are looking publicly, open into your resume, and they giving the feedback. What you're gonna do with this feedback, it's up to you. You wanna apply or you wanna stick to whatever you have, it's up to you. But this is the value that you may get a feedback.
yeah. Like, I think it's a brilliant idea, and um, especially when we don't have an abundance of software engineering jobs, or like where you I mean, like, the abundance is still there, but like, we have to be a little bit more strategic about it, because now we have a lot more people on the market who are actively interested, right? You have to apply a little bit better strategy to your job search, right? And like, meetups, networking, putting yourself out there is a definitely very effective way to connect with other people and network. Because, again, you never know.
100%. And going back to your point when you said back then some coaching, how you call them, career coaches,
Yeah,
right?
career
They
coaches.
were they were suggesting don't apply online. I mean, obviously, like applying is the very basic one. You should apply anyway,
Yeah,
and as more as you can. It's like a fishing, right? But
yeah,
this is
and
exactly like what it is.
mhm,
Honestly saying, like today we have one of the worst job market for the last 10 years. That's that is a fact. Funny fact that the last year was the best year for all
mhm,
engineers across the country for the last 10 years. So we have like the
yeah,
worst and the best. You
mm,
lucky.
yeah.
You got
Well,
this.
I think calling it the worst. I think we as software engineers and like tech workers, we are so spoiled with the abundance of messages that we would normally get for recruiters. We didn't have to do anything. Like, you just have your LinkedIn profile, and you have all of your skills correctly optimized on your profile, and here we are. Like, everybody is coming to you. You don't have to post on LinkedIn that often, right? And LinkedIn algorithms are very like good and then very sensitive. So like we honestly didn't have to work that hard, especially like if you are like somewhere in the sweet spot, like mid-level senior engineer. So like you're good. Junior engineers are a little bit, it's a little bit different story because again, like it's always been harder for junior developers to land a job. But now we actually it's not like that it's really hard to get a job. We actually have to do all the things that other people do and that we normally do before the pandemic, right? Apply, network, express your interest, make a connection, prepare for the interview, connect with the hiring manager in a meaningful and respectful way. And this is how people successfully land better jobs and better offers. Because I mean, you can land a job, but like you also want to still think about a better offer too. So, but this is what we had to do before. But then, like the abundance of messages and opportunities just like kind of flooded our way, and now we are at that point where like, oh, looking for a job is a job. It's an effort that like you can't just sit back and relax because your resume is on Dice or on Indeed or like you have like fairly decent LinkedIn profile. Like you have to do the work right now.
Yeah, you're in a competitive market.
Hmm.
Along with you, other software engineers who were laid off from top big companies, right? So you're
Hmm.
competing with them as well.
Yes.
Not necessarily. I mean, obviously, like if you are junior, these guys they won't go for junior positions. You are not
Yeah.
competing with them, but like senior guys who are in the job market right now or like mid-level, doesn't
Hmm.
really matter, everybody's like right now is competing, right? So yeah, you're absolutely right. I agree that pre- the market was spoiled.
Yeah.
Engineers was spoiled. You probably had like 20 messages a day
Hmm.
in direct messages in the LinkedIn, and maybe not only in LinkedIn. Some recruiters they would go other places,
Yeah.
right? Besides the job board. I remember someone was sending a message on the Facebook even. I was like,
Yes.
why Facebook? But yeah, that was the fact. Right now, it's totally opposite. I don't get this many messages in my LinkedIn. I
Hmm.
don't have this many email. I still have. I still getting emails, but
Hmm.
not that much. And so yeah, you're right. You have to only to do is to prepare, polish your resume, polish your interviewing skills, go apply and do your job.
Yeah. So we are wrapping up, and any closing thoughts? Like any closing thoughts?
uh like in any time, opportunity, I agree with Eugene, with you that opportunity is always there. We
Hmm.
just in different time,
Hmm.
but it doesn't mean that yesterday was much better. Yes, it was better, but at the same time, like 20 years or 30 years, it's a cycle. So
Hmm.
all what we can do is not to wait but prepare, polish your skills, make it better than others, like, and that's how you can win in competitive market,
Hmm.
right? Make yourself better than others to be hired.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And so, if people want to connect with you, what would be the best way to connect with you and find you online?
uh the first, this on crashinginterview.com, you can drop me a message there,
Hmm.
in direct message, or
Hmm.
connect me with LinkedIn, in the LinkedIn. I can post it here too. um, Give me one
Uh,
second.
yeah, I don't know why are not showing on your side. So I'm using StreamYard, and like I've never been on the other end of like I've never been a guest on the StreamYard. So which like I'm kind of curious, like a guest experience. And I yeah, and I will also tag you on I will also tag you on this live stream after we finish. Well, Thank you so much, Evgeny. It was a pleasure to see you and talk to you. I think we had an amazing discussion. And if you are interested in networking and in meetups, Evgeny has amazing meetups. So go check his link out. And until next time, thank
Thank you,
you.
Eugene. Thank you for having me.
Mm,
Thank
bye.
you.